So the second book this year, I've been reading Religion for Atheists. I hadn't read it yet. I heard a lot about it, but I hadn't read it yet. I actually liked it more than I thought I would. It's still a little bit, it's not necessarily my favorite subject, but it's an important subject nonetheless, since religion kind of weaves through all of man's history. So this is the cover. It's a hardback, so it comes with a sleeve, but I don't really like reading books with sleeves. I think it's one of those things that irritates me, similar to the little strings that you get when you buy a shirt or a jumper, and it's those strings that keep them on the hanger. Like, I need to cut them off straight away because they just annoy me. So maybe it's just a personal preference. So yeah, it was quite an easy read. Factual, historical things. There was some of his own experience woven through that as well. There was also a lot of imagery, which is nice when you're, you know, reading. I think my favorite part was more focus on Buddhism. So I'll read one of my favorite quotes. It's, aside from needing to be delivered eloquently, ideas also have to be repeated to us constantly, 3 or 5 times or 10 times a day. We must be forcibly reminded of truths that we love, but otherwise will not be able to hold on to. What we read at 9 in the morning, we will have forgotten by lunchtime and will need to reread by dusk. Our inner lives must be lent a structure and our best thoughts reinforced to counter the continuous pull of distraction and disintegration. So I kind of related to that because I get distracted easily. Sitting down and being disciplined enough to read is, I mean, so far so good, but obviously it takes some time to get used to. So I really liked the art section. We always had art and theology kind of as a same subject because it's so connected historically. So I took quite a few notes. I don't know if you can see. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is the idea of a museum. So it says, the challenge is to rewrite the agendas for our museums so that art can begin to serve the needs of psychology as effectively as for centuries it has served those of theology. And you can see the map here drawn out of the Tate Modern. And you can see, I don't know if you can read all of the sections here. So it says, Gallery of Self-Knowledge, Gallery of Love, Gallery of Fear, Gallery of Compassion, Gallery of Suffering. And it's, you know, if museums were like this, then I think it would really bring people together in a different way rather than only it being a bit static looking at art. And I had a bit here as well. I found it really interesting when he went on a retreat in Suffolk, a Buddhist retreat, and he describes his experience. I think that's a really interesting chapter. Maybe more so to me personally because I'm interested in Buddhism. But it's really nice that he kind of submerged himself into different, well, religions, because he's an atheist himself. But he still takes a lot of nuggets from every religion and connects with it in his own way. So Tony is the teacher in Suffolk at the Buddhist retreat, and he describes something which is quite of interest to me. Nevertheless, as Tony now explains, This somber picture of one part of ourselves does not have to be define all that we are, because we are endowed too with a rare ability, reinforceable through spiritual exercise, occasionally to set aside the demands of our egos and to enter into a state of what Buddhists call anatman, or egolessness, during which we can take a step back from our passions and think about what our lives might be like if we were not burdened by the additional and painful needs to be ourselves. It is a sign of the Western bias towards the intellect that it comes as a surprise to be told that we should begin the business of setting aside our egos, not primarily through logical argument, but rather by learning to sit on the ground in a new way. I thought that was really powerful. This book has definitely made me meditate again, which I've totally stopped doing. Another thing I kind of stopped doing a little bit since Enza was born. I used to meditate a lot when I was pregnant with her, and then did yoga, like pregnancy yoga as well, when I was pregnant with her. And that's all kind of, you know, you get so busy in life and you just want to play with her and teach her things, but it's really good to focus on yourself and to teach yourself things that you can then, you know, she can learn from them while you're meditating. Maybe you can meditate together, maybe you can do yoga together, you know. I mean, I tried yoga together with her, but she kind of like goes underneath me, and yeah, it's a new experience, but it's fun as well. I hope you've enjoyed the short stories I read from this book. I've really enjoyed reading this book. I think the start was a little bit hard to get into, but once you kind of got through that, I really enjoyed it. It's good that they kind of kept the art section at the back so that I had motivation to read the book and then be rewarded with that section. Yeah, I would definitely recommend reading it. It really brushed up on my theology, which we did get in school, but I mean, when you're a teenager, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. I think it matched really well with reading The Ethical Vegan first and then following up with this one, since this is about religion, and Jordi's case was kind of, he won based on his beliefs, his faith, being ethical veganism. So yeah, it was a really good follow-on with this. I'll leave the link below if you want to check out that video as well. Alright, see you next time.